that on 4/4/25 at approximately 2200 hours, you were arrested by East Windsor PD due to being on scene of a car accident. You were deemed the driver and at fault of the accident and believed to be under the influence of intoxicating substances. The officer reported that you had been drinking while driving and poured your alcohol beverage out of its contained after the incident occurred. You also failed to participate in a standard field sobriety test. You are in violation of your state of Connecticut rules direction, additional condition, no alcoholic beverage consumption. Attorney Jones,
Here we go.
Yourself for the record.
Yes, thank you. Attorney Sonia Jones, Public Defender's Office, on behalf of Mr. Espinoza Wright.
Thank you. This is a preliminary hearing which has three purposes under Connecticut law. The first is to determine if there's probable cause to believe you committed an act that violates the conditions of your parole. The second is to determine if the act is sufficiently serious to warrant the revocation of your parole. This is the interstate, correct? So we are not going to do seriousness. I'm sorry. So we are just going to determine if there's probable cause to believe you committed an act that violates your parole.
Okay.
The state that you has a responsibility to show that there's probable cause to believe you violated one of the conditions of your parole. If I do not find probable cause, I will reinstate your parole, which means releasing and placing you back on parole supervision. You should know that preliminary hearing is an adversarial proceeding, and anything you say at this hearing can be used against you. This hearing is also being recorded. The testimony at today's hearing will be taken under oath. Counsel, do you want me to swear in Mr. Espinoza?
I don't think I'll be testifying.
Alright, so then we're going to go over the procedure for the hearing. First I'm going to read you your rights, then we're going to review the parole violation charges that the state your parole officer is bringing against you. We'll then review and identify the exhibits that have been filed for the record. The state is not present at today's proceedings, however you will have an opportunity to address the issue of probable cause and the severity of the allegations. After the conclusion of this hearing, I will inform you of my findings, which will be based on the available evidence. Do you have any questions about the purpose or procedure before we begin?
No, ma'am.
So you do have important rights at today's hearing, and I'm going to review them with you now. You have the right to be represented by an attorney, and counsel is here present for you. You also have the right to receive the written notice of the charges of violation. Did you receive that written notice?
Yes, ma'am.
You have the right to review the evidence against you before this hearing. You have the right to submit evidence in support of your case. You have the right to call and examine voluntary witnesses, and you have the right to cross-examine adverse witnesses. You understand these rights, and are you ready to go forward?
Yes, ma'am.
So we're now going to review the charges that the state your parole officer is bringing against you, and the information underlying each charge. So for charge number 1, the reporting officer stated that on 4/4/25 at approximately 2200 hours, you were arrested by East Windsor PD due to being on scene of a car accident. You were deemed the driver and at fault of the accident and believed to be under the influence of intoxicating substances. The officer reported that you had been drinking while driving and poured your alcohol beverage out of its contained after the incident occurred. You also failed to participate in a standard field sobriety test. You are in violation of your state of Connecticut rules direction, additional condition, no alcoholic beverage consumption. Charge number 2 states that on 4/4/2025 at approximately 200 hours, 2,200 hours, you were arrested by East Windsor PD due to being on scene of a car accident. You were deemed the driver and at fault of the accident and believed to be under the influence of intoxicating substances. The officer reported that you had been drinking while driving and poured your alcoholic beverage out of the
that's never good.
After the incident occurred, you also failed to participate in a standard field sobriety test. You were in violation of your state of New York condition of release, SC5. I will not consume alcoholic beverages. Charge number 3, the details state that on 4/4/2025, approximately 2200 hours, oh, it took me the third one to get it right, 2200 hours, you were addressed by East Windsor PD due to being on scene of a car accident. You were deemed the driver and at fault of the accident and believed to be under the influence of intoxicating substances. The officer reported that you had been drinking while driving and poured your alcoholic beverage out of its container after the incident occurred. You also failed to participate in a standard field sobriety test. You were in violation of your state of New York condition of release number 6. I will notify my parole officer at any time when I'm in contact with or arrested by law enforcement. Charge number 4 states that on 4/4/2025 at approximately 2200 hours, you were addressed by East Windsor PD due to being on scene of a car accident. You were deemed the driver at fault of the accident and believed to be under the influence of intoxicating substances. The officer reported that you had been drinking while driving and poured your alcoholic beverage out of its container after the incident occurred. You also failed to participate in a standard field sobriety test. Subsequently, you were charged with Connecticut General Statute 53A-213, drinking while driving, 14-227A, operating a motor vehicle under the influence of alcohol and/or drugs, 21A-279AD1, possession of more than 1.5 ounces of cannabis but less than 5 ounces, not in a locked container as a person over the age of 21, 14-270D2, applying too closely, which caused an accident, and 14-36A, operating without a license. You were given a bond of $10,000 and a court date with Hartford GA 14 for 4/14/2025. You're in violation of your state of New York conditions of release number 8. I will not behave in such a manner as to violate the provisions of any law to which I am subject, which provides for a penalty of imprisonment, nor will my behavior threaten the health and safety of myself or others. And on charge number 5, the violation details states that on 4/4/2025 at approximately 2200 hours, you were addressed by East Coast PD due to being on the scene of a car accident. You were deemed the driver and at fault for accident linked to be under the influence of intoxicating substances. The officer reported that you had been drinking while driving and poured your alcoholic beverage out of its container contained after the incident occurred. You also failed to participate in the standard field sobriety test. Subsequently, you were charged
he was going to jail anyway, so why not?
53A-213, drinking while driving, 14-227A, operating a motor vehicle under the influence of alcohol and/or drugs, 21A-279AD1, possession of more than 1.5 ounces of cannabis but less than 5 ounces, not in a locked container or as a person for the age of 21, 14-240D2, following too closely, which caused an accident, and 14-36A, operating without a license. You were given a bond of $10,000 and court date with Hartford GA 14 for 4/14/2025. You're in violation of the state of Connecticut conditions of interstate parole. Obey all laws. I will obey all laws. The state has filed the following exhibits that were marked for identification purposes as Exhibit A, the conditions of interstate parole. Exhibit B, the rating of actual custody. Exhibit C, the notice of parole violation. Exhibit D, the parole violation report. Exhibit E, the parole and community services release direction. Exhibit F, the Department of Corrections and Community Service certificate of release. Exhibit G, the East Windsor criminal information summary. Exhibit H, the safety case detail for docket number 77-S and 044-S. Counsel, did you and your client receive the notice of parole violation, the parole violation report, and all the other documents that have been identified for case purposes?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. And then, Counsel, did you want to submit any evidence at this point?
Yeah, I guess if you could mark into evidence as defense one the court's information sheet indicating that my client was granted the driving while impaired program.
Do you need any time to submit any additional evidence?
No.
What's the program called? Driving?
It's the IDIP program, which is the driving while impaired. It's the old alcohol education program, but it has a new name now.
Yeah. Okay. So we do not have any witnesses today, so at this time, it is the defense's opportunity to respond, make a short statement, calling witnesses, or testify with respect to probable cause.
Thank you. Just addressing the charges that indicate my client is in violation of the no alcoholic beverage consumption. I would just note that there is no evidence that my client was under the influence of alcohol. There's no breath tests, and there's no indication that he had ingested alcohol. In regards to the notification of arrest portion, I would also just point out that the incident is alleged to have occurred on April 4th of 2025, and it is indicated that at the time of my client's arrest, that law enforcement contacted his Connecticut parole officer to make the officer aware that the client had been arrested. So I just think that's important to note in terms of notification of arrest. So having my client being aware that the parole officer was notified by the police officer, he believes his parole officer was aware of the notification of his arrest based on the notification by the officer. And I would just note that's located in Exhibit D on the second page. It indicates that this information was relayed to interstate officer who forwarded this to Connecticut parole officer. So it appears as though the parole officers in both states were, or at least it's unclear if it's interstate in Connecticut or interstate in New York, but they were made aware of it.
So obviously he got pulled over and then he dumped the alcohol out because he was going to jail anyways.
And then just speaking generally, obviously he was arrested, he did go to court, there was a determination of probable cause, we understand that, but we just think it's important to note that he was given the diversionary program for the arrest.
And diversionary program is basically an alternative to jail.
He was given a promise to appear when the program was granted, and he is required to do 12 sessions of driving while impaired programming. He's ordered to complete one MAD victim impact panel at his own, well actually I'm not certain if the costs and fees were waived as to that. And he does have a completion date of 6/5/26, and that information was forwarded to his parole officer as well as to the interstate supervisor. So obviously it's our hope that after a review of this matter that my client would be released back into the community to participate in the program. He understands there's a process involved in that, but just wanted to make a record of that so it's clear. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm just going to take a moment and then I will announce my findings.
I mean, he's about to get out of jail anyways. They said 6/5, so, I mean.
And just to be clear too, the program that he was granted in court is a diversionary program. It covers any
alcohol,
intoxication of any substances, not specific to alcohol.
Alcohol, drugs, anything. It's a diversion program, so it's an alternative to jail.
Well, just take a moment and then I will announce the findings.
So this is just a probable cause here. This is just, they're making sure there's enough probable cause in order to keep going with the drunk driving. So let's see. Or the parole violation, excuse me. We shall see though.
Okay. Alright, so for charge number 1, I'm going to make a no finding.
Okay.
As the state fails to submit sufficient evidence in support of the charge. In addition, I'm making a no finding to charge number 2 as well for the same reason. And then for charge number 3, I'm also making a no finding as the state fails to submit sufficient evidence in support of the charge. And then for charge number 4, I am making a finding of probable cause based on state's exhibits A, T, F, G, and H. And for charge number 5, I'm also making a finding of probable cause for state's exhibits A, T, G, E, and H. So those are my findings, Mr. Espinoza. As I'm sure Attorney Jones has explained, she just said it again, that this is an interstate case. So,
interstate means
New
multi-states.
York and the interstate unit at that point, so there's nothing further we can do for
So
you
between
at this
Connecticut
point.
and New York.
Just wait, I guess, for the notification, I guess it works
From
on
New
what's
York.
going to take place, okay?
Okay, thank you. Not that I'm in any rush, but is there anybody like a
Good attitude.
time? No.
I don't know what happens after this point, unfortunately.
Right.
Attorney Jones?
I think that an addendum needs to be sent in by the parole officer. I'm not certain if that's even taken place yet, but they do have 14 business days to submit that paperwork. And so hopefully once that paperwork is submitted, the interstate parole supervisor will have a case conference with both New York as well as the director at the board to determine the next step for you. I would just advise you that if you are released from custody, that you report immediately to the bail commissioner's office so that you can begin your programming. Don't hold off on doing that if you are released from custody, okay?
Alrighty.
Okay,
Thank you
and then
so
obviously you can keep in touch with our office, and as we receive information, we'll certainly let you know.
Thank you.
Okay, good luck, sir.
Thank you.
There you
Okay,
go.
thank you.
This is a preliminary hearing for Anthony Espinoza, MA number 449543. Good luck to you.
Don't drink and drive. And as I always say, stay blessed and stay free. Have a good day, guys.